Now, let's be clear about Mark Carney. He is a counterfeit. He's pretending to adopt my policies because he knows they're popular.
Because of the president. So I'm genuinely curious. What would you do in dealing with Donald Trump?
I will answer that question.
Okay. Do you take any lessons from this past year, either in the election defeat, in your defeat in your own riding? Is there anything you're reflecting on in terms of what you should be doing differently, better, your leadership style, how you speak to Canadians?
Speaker, we will take no lessons from these conservatives, Mr. Speaker.
Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. I know many times I've called Rosemary Barton a CBC hack reporter because she is. It drives me crazy when I see her being that way because she is a capable journalist. That's the part that gets me. But she has Pierre, leader of the Conservative Party here, in a one-on-one. This just happened 2 minutes ago, and she does a good interview with Pierre. I think deep down she might actually be a conservative voter. She has this CBC hack job, yeah. She's also a capable journalist. Pierre Poilievre is pretty charming in this one. Rosemary Barton up a couple of points in my books. Let's take a peek why. Here we go.
So let's give a warm welcome to our newest member of the Liberal Party, Michael Ma.
Greater Toronto Area MP Michael Ma raised the Liberals' seat count when he crossed the floor from the Conservatives on Thursday night. It was an unexpected move, as Ma was seen at the Conservative Christmas party just the night before and voted with his former party just hours before that announcement was made. It's the second Conservative MP to cross the floor and third to leave the Conservative Party since November. Joining me in studio now to talk about all of that and more, the leader of the official opposition and Conservative leader.
Let's go.
Nice to see you, Mr. Poilievre.
Good to be with you.
Thanks for making the time. I want to start with what happened in Australia overnight. At least 11 people killed at a Hanukkah event on Bondi Beach, and just for your thoughts on that, sir.
Well, our condolences for the families. This is another act of anti-Semitic evil and terrorism that have become all too common. This is what happens when we allow hate, terrorism, anti-Semitism to be normalized. We in Canada have to reflect on the fact that there have been rampaging anti-Semitic riots on our streets, fire bombings of children's schools and of Jewish synagogues. It is absolutely unacceptable. We must destroy this terrorism, stand up against anti-Semitism, and make Canada and hopefully the world a safe place for people to wear their mezuzahs, to put their mezuzahs on their doors, to wear their Stars of David and their kippahs, and to be proud Jews. So I'm thinking of all of my Jewish friends and neighbors this Hanukkah.
Okay, move on to some politics now, and I want to talk politics and a bit of policy as well. Right. But let's start with what happened last week. You've now lost 2 MPs to the Liberal Party. Both have pointed to your leadership as issues. Michael Ma saying that he was more interested in unity than division. Is this a problem of your leadership at this point?
No, it's a problem of Mark Carney's leadership that after Canadians clearly rejected a costly Liberal majority because they knew it would mean higher grocery prices and higher food costs, he is trying to manipulate his way through backroom deals to get that majority.
He's allowed to do this, though, right? Floor crossing is allowed. You've benefited from it.
But he's trying to take a majority, a costly majority, that would drive up the cost of living and enrich Liberal elites, of course, but not through democratic means. My message to Mark Carney is that if you want a costly majority government to drive up taxes and deficits, then you have to go to the Canadian people and have them vote for it, not do it by dirty backroom deals.
I mean, I know you don't like it, and we can talk about the merits of floor crossing and whether it should be allowed, but it is allowed. This is something that is allowed to happen. So back to my question, is this a sign of a weakness in your leadership that 2 members of your caucus have left?
No, it's a sign of backroom dealings that will drive up the cost of living. And don't take my word for it, take Mr. Ma's word. This is what he said just a few weeks ago. We are in a shameful situation in this country where over 2 million Canadians are visiting food banks every month. At the end of every month, paychecks are not going far enough. Why is that? I'm quoting. Yeah. The Liberals want to deflect and blame this solely on the trade deficit. However, there's a simple economic fact. When we create more units of currency and map them into the economy that is not meaningfully producing more goods and services, we get inflation. As a case in point, in the last 5 years, I'll just finish up his quote. In the last 5 years, grocery prices have risen more than 20%. He blames that on Mark Carney's deficit, and that was only a few weeks ago. So
it's possible he didn't write that, though, as we know. Many of your MPs, many of your MPs are given talking.
They were his words. They were his words.
Okay, so
and
what?
You know what? He was right in that when he said that, and it was, but he.
What are you doing now? What are you doing now to make sure other caucus members don't leave? What are you saying to them?
Affordability, affordability, affordability. Canadians cannot afford grocery prices because of Carney's hidden Liberal taxes on food. What unites all Conservatives is the belief that you should be able to have a full bank account, a full fridge, and a full stomach all at the same time, something that's not possible after 10 years of
And
Liberal.
listen, we were talking to Minister Champagne about that, and a gentleman who's using a food bank, because you're right, they are at record highs. But obviously there are some people who believe that Mark Carney has the solutions to those problems.
Well, he is the one who's causing the problems. He's bringing in an industrial carbon tax on farm equipment and on fertilizer that drives up food prices, a food packaging tax that adds about $1 billion to grocery bills across the country, a new fuel tax that will be 7 cents a liter next year on farmers, on truckers who bring us our food. And then, of course, there's a $78 billion deficit, twice the size of Trudeau's, which is causing inflation, as Mr. Ma rightly pointed out. And I'm the only one who's going to reverse that inflationary policy. I've been saying this now for 5 years, and I regrettably continually proven right that when you spend more and tax more, then Canadians have to pay more for groceries after 10 Liberal years.
Let's talk a bit about policy, because that's obviously where you want to go too.
Why not?
The memorandum of understanding with Alberta. The overall goal of that deal is to get a pipeline, at least one pipeline to the British Columbia coast to get more oil to Asian markets. Do you think that the fundamentals behind that deal are a good idea? That itself is a good idea?
A pipeline to the Pacific?
Well, that part of the deal that the Prime Minister has put on the table with the Alberta Premier makes sense.
Yes, obviously. That's why I put forward a motion in favor of that pipeline. But Mark Carney doesn't think it's a good idea. He voted against his own promised pipeline.
Well, he did that because it didn't have the industrial carbon price in it, as you know.
You make a very good point.
Yes.
Mark
If you
Carney,
had put the whole MOU on the table to vote against, it probably would have worked out better for you in that instance.
But then I would be voting for a costly carbon tax, as you point out, a tax on food, because when you tax the farm equipment and fertilizer, you tax the food. A tax on homes, because when you tax cement, glass, concrete, wood, and other things.
But the Premier of Alberta is comfortable with industrial carbon pricing.
If I could, you asked me why I didn't put it in, because I am against carbon taxes, period. Now, let's talk about the amazing and brilliant Premier of Alberta, who said just the other day when she was endorsing my leadership that I would not have forced a carbon tax on her. And if I were Prime Minister right now, we'd be well on the way to planning a pipeline, something that is not happening under the current Liberal government. Now, let's be clear about Mark Carney. He is a counterfeit. He's pretending to adopt my policies because he knows they're popular, but he's quietly working against them. He's told his Liberal caucus...
You don't believe that he actually wants a pipeline? Because the Alberta Premier believes it.
I do believe what he voted against, which was the pipeline. And Mark, let's take a look at the history here. What you have to believe to trust Mark Carney on this. His party killed this pipeline in a November of 2016 cabinet decision. Mark Carney endorsed that decision to kill the pipeline. I don't believe that Mark Carney has changed from the things that he wrote for 10 years and that his party did for 10 years, which is to block pipelines and try to keep oil and gas in the ground.
Then why does Danielle Smith believe him?
Danielle Smith was very clever because she forced Carney to flip-flop and break his word to his Leave It in the Ground caucus by withdrawing his threatened emissions cap and clean electricity regulations, because those things would have driven up the cost of energy and killed even more jobs. Now, Ms. Smith defended her province by forcing Carney to flip-flop on that. But that, at the end of the day, does not mean that we should give him credit. He was threatening to do a lot of damage. Now he's doing a little less damage. Why doesn't he just get out of the way? We know what it takes to get a pipeline done. The federal government has the sole legal authority to approve it. So approve it. Set the corridor, and the private sector will build it because it's wildly profitable.
You referenced Northern Gateway, and you know that the problems there. Yes, it was a cabinet decision, but the problem is British Columbia and First Nations. So what would you do to try and get their support for a pipeline, or would you just say, "Too bad, we're doing it"?
We're doing it.
Oh. So you wouldn't bother with consultation?
Of course I would consult.
Yeah.
That's what my motion said.
Yeah.
We do consultations, but we are going to build a pipeline when I'm Prime Minister. As for British Columbia, the Premier does not have a veto. No. Under our Constitution, Section 92, it is the exclusive domain of the federal government, and under Bill C-5, which Mark Carney asked for, it is the exclusive decision of the Prime Minister. So there's only one person who will decide on this in the end, and that is the Prime Minister of Canada. Mark Carney is quietly whispering to the Leave It in the Ground Liberal caucus, there will never be a pipeline, don't worry.
He must not be saying that because Stephen Guilbeault quit.
Stephen Guilbeault quit because of the emissions cap, but he is saying it, and his own MPs in British Columbia are saying it. And then he voted against a pipeline in the House of Commons. What he's doing, let's be clear, pipelines are popular and profitable. So he's pretending that he's open to one until after the next election so that he can try to win pro-pipeline voters. But then his plan is to kill the project. If you want a pipeline to the Pacific, to add $30 billion of overseas exports, the biggest export project overseas in Canadian history, you will need a conservative government that will get out of the way and let it happen.
Okay, I want to ask you about trade, because that's the other piece that is coming in the new year. There's still no deal. Talks are still stalled, although the Prime Minister speaks to the President. Do you think that the CUSMA review is now the best way forward for Canada in getting any kind of deal with the United States?
My position is that we need tariff-free access to the biggest and most lucrative market in the world, which we had before the Liberal government was elected in 2015. Of course, after the Liberals got in, President Obama started hammering us with new tariffs on softwood lumber that Harper had got lifted. They brought in new Buy America rules, and then it's been one defeat after another. Now,
so
Mark
what would
Carney
you do?
was,
what do you think they should be doing here?
We should reflect on the fact that Mark Carney was elected on one promise, that he would negotiate a win with President Trump by July 21st, and here we are. About a half a year later, his promise is broken. American tariffs have doubled. They've tripled on softwood lumber.
But some of that is because of the president. So I'm genuinely curious. What would you do in dealing with Donald Trump?
I will answer that question, but let's be clear.
Yeah.
Mark Carney said he could handle Donald Trump.
Well, so did you.
So, and I would have if I were Prime Minister right now.
So what should he be doing?
Well, we have to negotiate from a position of strength.
Yeah.
And I have to go back. We need to approve pipelines and natural gas projects and other major resource projects that allow us to ship our single biggest export overseas so that we are not monolithically dependent on the Americans. We need to get rid of the capital gains tax on reinvestments in Canada to bring back the $500 billion of investment Liberals have driven into the U.S. economy. And then you can sit down with the President and say, look, now we're selling our resources to the Asians, to the Europeans. Now we're bringing back our investment and becoming more sovereign, strong, and self-reliant. Now we're in a position of strength. Now let's negotiate. And that would be a far better approach than what Mr. Carney is doing, which is blocking these projects, keeping all of the Liberal taxes and anti-resource laws in place of the last 10 years, and giving even more of our investment to the Americans.
It's been a long year. I think we can both agree on that, a long, busy political year. Did you take any lessons from this past year, either in the election defeat, in your defeat in your own riding? Is there anything you're reflecting on in terms of what you should be doing differently, better, your leadership style, how you speak to Canadians?
I reflect a lot on why I'm doing this. Why am I in this? And it's the elderly woman who said to me that going shopping used to be her favorite thing to do every week. Now she walks down a grocery aisle and she feels anxious and angry because of how much it costs to fill her fridge, that she gets home and she's stressed out because she cannot afford to eat. I think of the young guy I met who wants to start a family. He's in his 30s. He's been working his whole adult life, and he can't afford a down payment. I am in it for these people, and I need to give them hope. That's what this country needs now more than ever. Hope that you will again be able to afford a home. Hope that you can afford food. Hope that you'll be safe on your streets. And that will be the obsession of my leadership, to provide hope for a better future.
And that's the why, and super important, obviously, but it's the how I'm asking about, whether you think that you are doing the how the right way.
Well, on the house, so let's break it down. On food, the how is we got to get rid of the industrial carbon tax on food.
I don't mean the policies. I
and-
mean you as a leader, whether you feel you're doing that part the right way to connect with those people and talk about what you think are the right solutions.
Yeah, the right solutions, it's not just the industrial carbon tax, though we have to. The underlying problem with inflation is that they're printing money. And whenever you print money, then you bid up the goods that Canadians buy. And it enriches a small group of liberal elite corporate insiders because all their assets go up. But then the working class people who actually carry this country on their shoulders, they get ripped off. And so we need to stop the money printing, get our budget back into balance, cut the bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid, handouts to phony refugees, cut that all off, because then you can bring down the deficits, the inflation, and the taxes, and then that young person I met will be able to afford a down payment, and that wonderful grandmother will be able to once again enjoy her visit to the grocery store because she can afford groceries.
Are you looking forward to Christmas with your holiday,
Very
your family?
much so.
Yeah.
We procrastinated on letters to Santa, and so we got them written last night.
Okay.
And
Hopefully he'll get them in time.
Well, I know we put them on the Christmas tree, and there was an elf that came and took the letter, and we understand that through that express service, it's going to make it to the North Pole just in time.
Nice of you to come back. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Appreciate
Many
it very
blessings.
much.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you very much. That's Pierre Poilievre, leader of the official opposition and conservative leader, of course.
Oh, yeah.
We'll wrap it up right there, gang. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Rosemary Barton is a capable journalist, but also a CBC hack reporter sellout? It's a compromised situation indeed. Aaron, Kennedy, and Looney, smash the like, hit subscribe. Check out one of the other videos we've got floating around here. Get your Canadian federal politics right here. We'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching this one. Ciao for now. Merry Christmas.